This is TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and the State of the Saints podcast is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Over 2 million men worldwide choose Manscaped for all their below-the-waist needs. For those that love the Lawnmower 3.0, well, I got news for you. The Manscaped engineering team has confirmed that they have successfully created the Lawnmower 4.0. The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. The new trimmer even allows you to customize your trim all through additional guards lengths, sizes 1 through 4. And looks-wise, it's sleek with a two-tone matte and gloss finish, even features a hot foil stamp, black chrome Manscaped logo. Show your mower off loud and proud. Go to Manscaped.com, use the promo code STATEOFSAINTS, and you will save 20% off of the Lawnmower 4.0, as well as other Manscaped items. That's Manscaped.com. What's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Hope everybody is excited for their Monday afternoon, because that's where we're recording this. And hope everybody is having a good day. All right. I mean, this is day 4 of the New Orleans Saints training camp. A lot of things happened over the weekend. I mean, of course, I didn't do any videos this past weekend, man. I just thought that I'd just spend a little quality time with the family. I have been, keeping up with what's been going on with Saints training camp, and I decided to do a video on today to talk a little bit about it. But I want to let everybody know before we get started that at 7 p.m. this evening, Eastern Standard Time, 6 Central, I'll be sitting down and having an interview with Dr. Jesse Morse. He is a sports medicine doctor and physical therapist, and he's going to be talking to us a little bit about the Michael Thomas injury and give us a little bit information about what that injury is all about and what went wrong. So be sure to check that interview out. I think he's going to give us some really good information. He's very informed. He has a really good background. I won't steal any of his thunder. I'll make sure that I give him the opportunity to give you all his credentials, but be sure to check it out, man. Dr. Jesse Morse will be on the State of the Saints podcast later on another video. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Saints training camp. It's the 4th day of Saints training camp, and there's a lot of storylines that happened over the weekend. Of course, the Saints decided to bring in 2 cornerbacks. Prince Amukamara, which some of us are familiar with. He was drafted back in 2011 by the New York Football Giants. That is the 3rd New York Football Giant cornerback the Saints have had in like the last 4 years, right? They did had Eli Apple, they did had Janoris Jenkins, and now Prince Amukamara. So it seems like the Saints really love those New York Giant cornerbacks. And another guy that they decided to sign was Kavari Russell, a little bit of a journeyman, a 3rd-round draft pick out of Notre Dame a couple years ago. Wasn't a guy that really saw the field as much, but just a guy that can be in there as far as a camp body. And also we have the shocker of a lot of members of the Who Dat Nation is Devontae Freeman. Everybody knows Devontae Freeman played many years with the Atlanta Falcons before they decided to release him. He played last year with the New York Giants, and now he's with the New Orleans Saints. And according to Twitter and according to Facebook, man, a lot of people have mixed emotions about Devontae Freeman joining the New Orleans Saints, but it also shows us that the NFL is a business, and even though guys have this allegiance to the team, I mean, that is a conditional allegiance. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what everybody's here for. Of course, the quarterback competition. Now, I do have two sound bites here. First, we're going to hear from Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill talking a little bit about some of the things that he did in the offseason to get him prepared to be able to have this competition in training camp with Jameis Winston. Check it out.
So, I mean, for you, did that mean like leaning out a little bit? How'd you kind of change that?
I leaned out, came in a little bit lighter than I would normally come into camp, and then my weight room routine through the off season was quite a bit different as well. Not so much from a lower body standpoint, but everything upper body, backside shoulder, big emphasis, and so forth.
So is that the purpose for that? Is that, I guess, more flexibility? I think. I don't know actually.
Yeah. Well, I think as a thrower, it's more important to have a stronger backside, than it is your front side shoulder, and it's naturally to work your front side muscles than it is your backside. And I can tell you, for me, historically, when I get sore, it's all your decel motions from taking so many reps and throwing so many balls. And so, throughout my career here, I was always trying to find that balance of being strong enough to do what I was going to be asked to do, but still be able to throw a ball and so forth. And so there was definitely a transition there.
You mentioned
So as you can see, Taysom Hill really has embraced his quarterback role. Wasn't really focusing on this whole Swiss Army knife thing that he's been doing over the last couple of years. He's really embraced this opportunity that's in front of him. And, he did all the right things. And Taysom Hill, he looks like he's in some of the best shape of his life. And that's saying something, because Taysom Hill can basically be the stunt double for Chris Evans on Captain America. I mean, the guy is chiseled out of granite. You know what I'm saying? Like, he does not look like a stereotypical quarterback, but he takes a lot of pride in his workout regimen. And this guy is really focused and dialed in. And from what I'm hearing as far as training camp, he's doing an outstanding job. I'm really happy for Taysom Hill, for him to get this opportunity. I think that this is a great opportunity for him to go out here, put his best foot forward. And all he wanted was a fair opportunity. And it seems like he's getting it and he's embracing it. So shouts out to Taysom Hill. And I'm glad to hear some of those great things that are coming out of Saints camp in regards to Taysom Hill. And of course, we have Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston going into his second season with the New Orleans Saints. This is the second season. He seems like he's really dialed in and he's embracing the opportunity. So check it out.
Yeah, continuity is always a great thing for any position. And being able to experience Sean's and Drew's relationship gave me a good grasp of the system. Obviously, reps is what's important. This year, I probably got more reps in 3 days than I got all last year. So it's an incredible feeling to be able to have an opportunity to go out there and execute, because I'm more of a visual learner. I like to apply what we're doing, apply to certain concepts, and I learn better that way. So it's been fun, and I think I'm getting a good grasp of it. But obviously, my objective is to get better every single day, and I know with a great head coach, his resume speaks for itself, and we got great guys in that quarterback room there, and we're helping each other, and we're building.
So Jameis Winston, it seems like the light has come on for him. And looking at some of the comments, looking at some people's feedback about Jameis Winston, he has really changed the minds of a lot of people. I've seen individuals encouraging members of the Who Dat Nation to go check out the interview with Jameis Winston. I think it was about 15 minutes long. I was actually looking at it, not looking at it, but listening to it as I was driving this past weekend. And Jameis Winston is always one of those guys that you can, get a lot of motivation from. He's one of those guys that, he is a natural born leader. You got some guys, that, lead by, example, by going out there and performing well. And then you have other guys out there that can kind of push other guys into buying into the system. And he falls into that category. And it's fun and nice to say all the right things and do all the right things, but it's about applying it to the field. What are you doing out there to make sure that your teammates are in the best position to succeed? Now, before I take some of your comments and answer some of your questions, and thank you all so much for those that are commenting, and thank you all so much the ones that are filing in and ones that are here right now. But before we get into that, I just want to go ahead and just let everybody know something that has been on my mind and something I have been watching over this past weekend. I just don't like this division in the Who Dat Nation when it comes to the quarterback competition. I think that people that are Saints fans, I think they're getting this all wrong. I understand that we have this knack, this want to be right. We want to feel like we're saying the right things, doing the right things, endorsing the right things. But in this particular situation, I feel like it's different. You have two guys that are quarterbacks for a team that you root for, Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. Now, I see comments all the time, and people say that I'm pushing, a Jameis Winston narrative, and I'm not paying attention to Taysom. I made it very, very clear. And that's why what bothers me about some people is that they'll look at the State of the Saints podcast or listen to the State of the Saints podcast for 5 to 10 minutes, and they don't listen to their whole show. And probably in the middle of the show, I'm clarifying my statement. So I encourage people, if you're going to comment, make sure that you listen to the show, because it to me, it's kind of crazy, that's one of the reasons why a lot of these false narratives are out here, because we don't listen to videos and audio in its entirety. We just warp our judgment based on a few clips, a few minutes, and you don't get the whole grasp of it. I made it very clear. When it comes to the starting quarterback position, I feel like Jameis is going to win this position. But I feel if Jameis does not win this quarterback competition, I want the competition to be so hard for Sean Payton that he has to flip a coin in order to decide who is going to be the starting quarterback. And you should feel the same way, because that means if something was to happen to Taysom, if he was a starter, Jameis can come in and play well, and vice versa. We should want these guys to be the best that they can possibly be, because hell, they're our quarterbacks. They represent the team that we root for. So all of this division, Taysom, man, all these Taysom fans laughing at and Jameis fans laughing at Taysom fans, like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, these are two guys that play for the New Orleans Saints. And I'm cheering for both of these guys. So when I start to look at some of these articles and I'm seeing that Taysom Hill had a really good day throwing the football and his mechanics have improved, his footwork has improved, I'm happy. And you should be too. So when you hear Jameis doing a back shoulder fade or throwing the ball down the field, or reading through his progressions or checking it down or making some of the decisions that he doesn't normally make, you should be excited about that too, because it's a win-win. Okay? It's not like one guy played for the Saints, other guy played for the Falcons, or one guy played for the Saints, the other guy played for the Panthers. Both of these guys are our quarterbacks. So I'm cheering for both of them. And I'm relying on Sean Payton to make the right decision, because he has done that. He has proven that he puts the guys in position to succeed, and he is going to do what's best for the team. So I just feel like we are making ourselves red in the face, and we're getting all angry, and we're going back and forth with one another for absolutely no reason at all. Because when it all comes down to it, both of these guys are very, very important to the success of the New Orleans Saints. So as soon as we all embrace that logic, the better. Root for whoever becomes the starting quarterback. And don't root for the guy, to fail when he becomes the starting quarterback just because you wanted another guy to be the starting quarterback. If Sean Payton comes out and says Taysom is our starter week 1, I'm rooting for Taysom to be the best quarterback that he can possibly be. If he does the same thing with Jameis Winston, I want Jameis Winston to be the best quarterback that he can possibly be, because I am a Saints fan. I love both of these guys. I respect both of these guys, but I am a Saints fan. That's what it all comes down to. I want to see the Saints successful. And whatever it takes in order for the New Orleans Saints to be successful, to get to the end point that we all want this team to get to, which is the Super Bowl, that's all that matters to me. I don't care how they do it. It's like this example that I use, right? Some people prefer sports cars. Some people prefer fuel-efficient cars, right? If you both take a trip to Atlanta, some people will get there faster than others. But at the end of the day, you're both going to get to Atlanta. So regardless to what you think or what you feel, the fact of the matter is this. I do not care as long as the best man wins, and him being the starting quarterback equates to wins. So I just wanted to say that to the members of the Who Dat Nation. Like, I don't understand this going back and forth and people putting articles out about, things that Taysom did well just to feel like Taysom Hill is out-dueling Jameis, or putting out articles about Jameis because he's out-dueling Taysom, and looking at who completed how many passes at training camp, because it really does not matter. What matters is who can do what when it matters most. And whoever that may be, I'm rooting for him on Sunday or Thursday or Saturday or Monday or whenever the games play. That's all that matters to me. And as a member of the Who Dat Nation, that's all that should matter to you. But let's go ahead and answer some of these questions. Thank you all for following in. If you're enjoying the State of the Saints podcast, if you enjoy the show, if you enjoy the podcast, go ahead and give your boy a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. Thank you all so much for spending your Monday afternoon here with the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much for your love and your support. All right, but we're going to start with Vito. Vito says, seems like Taysom fans get upset about the possibility of Jameis like they don't wear the same jersey. And that's all I'm saying, Vito. I just wish that people just embrace both quarterbacks and let it be the end. Now, you can have your preference, right? You can have your preference. But at the same time, like, cheer for both guys. And don't get this emotional investment about being right. And I know I know how you feel, because hell, I'm not speaking like I don't know what I'm talking about. For years, I've had that logic. I was an extremely stubborn human being when it comes to compromise. I've been that person. Man, I'm telling you, when you open up your eyes and you open up your mind to possibilities, you should be fine. That is the reason why, as individuals, we don't see eye to eye, because we are not listening or feeling what another person's saying. We're waiting for that person to shut up so we can get our words in, and we're not embracing that person's thought patterns, right? But if we look at it, sometimes we're saying the same things, but in different ways. So all I'm saying is embrace it, okay? Whoever it is, like I said, you can have your preference, but don't root for a guy to fail in order for you to feel right. That doesn't make any sense, because we all know that football has a high percentage of injuries. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. We got this 53-man roster what we think is going to look like when it comes to Sunday. But we all know when it comes to week 17, right? When it comes down to the end of the season, you know what I'm saying? Week 18, we all know that the roster is not going to look the same way because injuries occur. So like I said at the beginning, you should want to root for both of these guys, because you don't know how the season may pan out. You might find yourself having to root for the guy that you want to fail, which makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. So you should want these guys to bring out the best in one another, to make it hard for the coaching staff to make that decision, because that's what you want. Because that means if push comes to shove, if things get bad, then that means that the next guy can come in and perform just as well or equivalent to the starting quarterback that went down. And I'm knocking on wood because I don't want to see any of these guys go down, but we just have to be realistic about this. there's a high percentage of injury inside in the NFL. So there's a possibility that we can be relying on either one of these guys to finish the season and take us to the playoffs or take us to the end game, which is the Super Bowl. RJ Mason says, yeah, you're right, TJ. I enjoy your show like with the South Division show. I enjoy. RJ, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And shouts out to Jew, on the Jew Talk Sports podcast. Shouts out to Don on the Forever I Love Atlanta podcast and all those other brothers I was on the little forum with. Shouts out to them, man. We don't see eye to eye because, of course, we cheer for different teams. But at the end of the day, man, I mean, those brothers are growing over there. They're trying to, bring out the best in themselves, create good content for their audience. And I'm just glad. And I want to give a shout out to everybody that went over there to check out those interviews that, that I did over there. So thank y'all so much. Jules said Lamar Jackson caught the Delta COVID Rona. I don't even know who's in training camp throwing the football. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I want to say, man, who is that guy? Man, I used to like him, man. He went to Penn State. I can't think of the dude name for Trace McSorley. Yeah, I think that's probably who out there, Trace McSorley. I was a big fan of him. I liked him when he was at Penn State. But he'd probably be McSorley out there, probably throwing a football. I'm just wondering if Quan is coming to the Saints. Your boy TJ too. You know what I feel? I feel like the Saints are giving him the opportunity to go out there and see what other teams have to offer, and he deserved that, right, man? Like, if you don't feel like you're worth the investment, then why should any other team do? And maybe the Saints probably threw a number at him, what was available at that particular time for them, and maybe Quan and his representation wanted to go out there to see what other teams had to offer. It had absolutely nothing to do with his condition, because he passed the physical and he's ahead of schedule, man. For a guy that had an Achilles injury 7 months ago, I mean, he's moving quite well. So it had absolutely nothing to do with his physical condition. I think it has a lot to do with the monetary, so I can understand this guy wanting to get max dollar, you know what I'm saying? Especially like you're constantly getting hurt, these lower extremity injuries, and these are serious injuries he's had, that have been season ending. So I can understand why a guy wants to get the max dollar for himself. But at the same time, as much as I love Quan Alexander, he has to be realistic about his circumstance. Now, I'm not saying you got to be out here looking all desperate and stuff like that and trying to sell yourself to anybody. You should have a level of integrity about yourself and a level of pride. But at the same time, you should be realistic about your situation. Here's a guy who has all the talent in the world, who is extremely gifted, who is a physical presence, is a smart football player, but he has a history of being injured. And we all know that sometimes teams will look at your injury history before they look at your production history. So I think that he should give himself the opportunity to go out there to see what some of these other organizations have to offer. And he has to be real with himself. Understand that you have a certain dollar amount that you feel like you're worth, but at the same time, you should be realistic with yourself and say, hey, I do have an injury history. Maybe I need to go out here, go to a championship contending team, maybe sign like a 1-year deal, more on like a prove it deal, and go out there and perform and show them that I'm worth the price of admission, or in this case, I'm worth more than what they're trying to pay me. I feel like that's the direction that you need to go in. I think you need to be realistic, because sometimes we invest in ourselves. We feel like, we're worth a certain amount, but if we're looking at it realistically, we have to prove ourselves. It's good to have that confidence, but sometimes you got to prove yourself not only to yourself, but to others as well, that you're worth that investment. I'm just wondering if, I already read that one. Mighty Mouse says, I'm a fan of the New Orleans Saints, not a single player. Look, you can have love for certain players, but I think sometimes we forget the concept of the business, that this is a business. I think sometimes we forget those things. We forget that the NFL is a business, and we have this allegiance to these players, and that's cool. You can cheer for a guy, but it's about the team, man. Like, honestly, like, how many of us love Drew Brees, right? I think every Saints fan can say they love Drew Brees. They thank him for the moments. They thank him for everything he did, the credibility that he brought to the organization, his humanitarian work that he brought to the Gulf Coast region. We're appreciative of that. But Drew Brees is no longer a New Orleans Saint. He retired. Okay. I mean, he's a Saint at heart. He always will be a Saint. He said that, but he's not playing this year. But the Saints have to continue to find ways to win. So it's best for us to embrace the team and not so much an individual player, right? But at the same time, I will say this. We need to give these players some slack, because sometimes I feel like we are so quick to look at players and the decisions that they make, and we don't look at the team and look at them as why these players decide to make this decision. Like, what is the team telling them? Like, I feel like even a couple years back, shouts out to Delvin Breaux, when the article came out about Delvin Breaux and, you know what I'm saying, like him wanting to, you know what I'm saying, him wanting to play, but he can't. A lot of people were like, man, this dude fragile, this, that, and the third, but it turns out that his leg was broken. Now, a lot of people was giving this dude a lot of flack for going out there. I mean, not going out there and playing, but at the same time, he couldn't. And I didn't see that same type of energy at the team that I seen with Delvin Breaux. So I do feel like sometimes we need to look at the team, but we need to cheer for the team and for them to make the right decisions, right? But in some cases, we need to look at them and not the player sometimes. So I think that we need to make conscious efforts to make sure that we are not falling into a trap, because sometimes those teams, their voice is so powerful, they can create this narrative to make us really dislike a player, when in reality, we should be looking at the team sometimes. But I am a team first guy, especially with COVID going on. Your depth chart needs to be lit. Yeah, I agree with that. I think you need to have a deep roster. I really feel that way. The Saints have done a good job getting guys into camp, and also over the last couple of years having depth at certain positions, guys that can come in and play in the absence of another guy, guys that take it upon themselves to go out there and play with a lot of heart, giving it 110%, even though they may not be as talented as that starting guy. So I can have an appreciation for that, but I do feel like you need some depth. But I think a lot of people need to look at this particular situation and look at it this way. Now, I understand that the Saints have a lot of guys who aren't household names, a lot of young, inexperienced guys that haven't really proven themselves as an NFL pro just yet. But when you look at the roster, when I look at rosters in the past from other teams that have been extremely successful, it has been built the way that the Saints are building their team. You have yourself some seasoned veterans, some locker room leaders, and you have yourself a young team. You get yourself a really good coaching staff that can really feed the minds of some of these young players, instill confidence, technique, ability inside of these guys, and they perform. And the best thing about it is you got these guys at really, really cheap deals. And, you know, you can go out here and you can get a piece here and get a piece there and add to the team. And you can really, you know, make yourself a Super Bowl contender. So I'm always a team building type guy, right? I'm not so much about going out here, getting a bunch of guys that's going to cost the team a whole bunch of money. I think that your coaching staff needs to consist of guys that are teachers that can get these guys coached up. And I think that's the recipe for success. I've never really seen a bunch of free agents come to a team and, you know, it just equates to long-term success. Now it can equate to like instant success. Okay. We've seen this in basketball. We've seen this in baseball. We see this in football. We've seen it last year with the Bucks. But it's not long-term success. It's not sustainable in my eyes. Like, it's a matter of time before you get a guy that's a high-value free agent and he looks at a guy who he feels like he's better than, and all of a sudden you get a call from his agent saying, my client wants this amount of money. He had this many sacks, and this guy right here wasn't as good, but he got this amount of money. So to me, it's a recipe for disaster. And then you find yourself having a bunch of guys that's unhappy with their salaries. may not, if they don't have a certain level of integrity, they're not going to play as hard as they should. So I think that you get yourself a bunch of young, hungry, guys that can be professionals, and you combine them with seasoned veterans, guys that have been there, guys that can take young guys under their wing and teach them how to be a pro, to teach them how to see the field, to teach them how to read a playbook, and how to develop the instincts that they need. That's what I feel is the recipe for success long-term when it comes to the NFL. I missed it, but I'm glad it went well on the Forever I Love Atlanta podcast. Yeah, it went well. It went well, man. Shouts out to them boys over there. My thoughts exactly, TJ. If Taysom is hanging in there with Jameis, that's a win-win for the organization. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a win-win. It's a win for you as a fan because you have a starter or a backup that you can count on, right? So it's win-win in my book. Derek says, I see we have a funky chicken I was trolling. Well, I seen a Falcon fan on there, man. Welcome to State of the Saints podcast. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, man. And I mean, look, I don't expect for you to like the Saints, but if you want to come into the Lions Den, talk your stuff, man, feel free to do so. Just keep it respectful. That's what we try to do here. I don't try to discourage anybody for rooting for their squad, but I just just keep it classy, man. One of them say we're going to come in third. We got an all-pro at every position except quarterback. If we're talking about the podcast that I was on, look, I'm going to say this. I completely understand where they're coming from. I know that sounds crazy, right? I completely understand where they're coming from because none of those three organizations have had success when somebody of importance goes down. Like if they lose somebody that is of importance, like a linebacker, a quarterback, a cornerback, I mean, they just fall down tremendously. And that is what I be trying to tell a lot of these fans of other teams. See, they look at it logically, like, okay, y'all don't have Drew Brees. He has been the catalyst. He has been the front runner. He has been your undisputed leader all these years. Now he's gone. Now y'all going to suck. And I understand that because you're never, ever going to learn more about the opposing team more so than you're going to learn about the team you actually like. So a lot of the times they're getting their information from the national media. They're not going to get it from Saints fans that talk logically. They're not going to get it from Deuce or Ross or Maddie or, CB or, Aaron or anybody like that. They're not going to do that. They want somebody that is going to push the narrative of Saints failure. Like, think about this, folks. There's a percentage of people out here right now. They only look at news outlets that feed their narrative because they don't want to feel like they're crazy, right? So let's just say if you fall into the category of being a liberal, you'll probably watch a little bit more of CNN. If you feel like, you're a little bit more conservative, you'll probably watch more of Fox News because it feeds into what you actually feeling, and vice versa with CNN. So if you're a fan of the Atlanta Falcons, of course, you want to hear the Saints failing without Drew Brees. So you're going to turn to all these different stations with a bunch of talking heads that don't really follow the team, that don't really fully do their research on the team, basically just take lazy little notes, and they're going to present that to the masses. But we as Saints fans who follow the team, who read the articles from Nick Underhill and read the article from Mike Triplett and read the article from Larry Holder and everybody else that writes, right? We are going to really do the research so we understand that the Saints are a top-notch organization. And we have seen on several occasions where guys who have been star players go down for a certain amount of time and the Saints still find a way to win a football game. Now, it might not be as pretty as it would be when a starter is there, but they still find ways to win. So that's why a Saints fan can confidently say that the team will be okay because we have a coaching staff who have guys that are professionals that get these guys coached up and teach them the ins and outs. But you have a lot of these other teams that they put all their eggs in one basket. Rather there's a quarterback, rather there's a running back, rather there's a cornerback, and they don't really focus on depth. So when a guy does go down, there's a huge gap in between. But that's the difference, in my opinion, between the Saints and all the other teams in the NFC South. Like Christian McCaffrey, for example. We seen Christian McCaffrey go down last season, had a lot of injuries. He was in and out of lineup, just like Michael Thomas was. I mean, the Carolina Panthers couldn't get over the hump. And there was a huge gap between him and Mike Davis. Mike Davis did a really good job at running back, but he wasn't Christian McCaffrey, right? When Teddy Bridgewater went down and P.J. Walker came into the game, there was a huge gap in between. When Luke Kuechly decided to retire, you can see the drop-off in linebacker play. But when you look at the New Orleans Saints, when you see guys have been injured, like you seen Janoris Jenkins and Marshawn Lattimore go down, we were all nervous about P.J. Williams and Patrick Robinson being on the outside, but the Saints still won the football game. When Drew Brees went down for 5 games a couple years ago, we never seen that before him, be down 4 and 5 weeks. We all were nervous. But we seen Teddy Bridgewater come into the game, and of course, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't as beautiful as it would be with a Drew Brees performance, but the Saints still find ways to win. So I feel like that is the difference between the New Orleans Saints and all the other teams. So I can understand a Falcon or a Bucks or a Panthers fan thinking that the Saints are going to suffer the same fate as their franchises, but the Saints, to me, are built differently because of their coaching staff, because of their front office. There's a reason, once again, why Janoris Jenkins went on a podcast and said that he felt the Saints was the best organization that he ever played for, because the Saints go out their way to put their players first. And when you have a culture of putting your players first, teams, players are going to rally around that team and do whatever it takes in order for that team to get over that hump. So I can understand that, but I don't feel, as a Saints fan, the Saints are in the same instance as some of these other teams, because despite the adversity, the Saints still found ways to win. KJ Wright would be another option. Yeah, as long as KJ Wright is out there, there's still a possibility. I do feel like the New Orleans Saints are trying to give these other young guys opportunities to actually win that starting job, and also to see if they need to go out there. Now, we know Sean Payton is going to go out there and find somebody if what he has inside of the locker room is not up to snuff. It's not like Pop Warner, right? If you have a guy that's, not, really that good as some of these other players, you're still going to put them out there because you're trying to build confidence. Don't work like that on a professional level. Sean Payton is going to do what he has to do in order for this team to succeed. And that is what's important. But what I'm going to do right now, man, I'm going to open up the phone lines to everybody. Feel free to comment, as people chime in via phone call. But we're going to talk a little bit about training camp. What do you think about training camp so far? What do you think about the New Orleans Saints? Some of the things that are going forward, some of the headlines that you're hearing about. I would love to hear from you all. I just say that you just keep it classy, man. Let's try to refrain from the profanity and stuff like that. I think that we're all, adults here. I think we all can, get our words across without, having to use, a bunch of profanity. Some people, they let loose. But let's just make sure that it's professional, man, especially since we know that you have a lot of young individuals that actually watch this show. I have a lot of nieces and nephews that watch this show and a lot of young people. So I want to make sure that we keep it family friendly here on the State of Saints podcast. But here we go right here. I got the link down in the comments right now, so feel free to chime in. Love to hear from you all. But in the meantime, as people file into for the calls, I'll be answering some of your questions right here on the comments. Let's see. TJ, I believe Paulson Adebo will have a great year and will start glad everybody sleeping on him. I don't think everybody's sleeping on him. I really don't. I think that he's a really good, talented cornerback. He's a smart player, but you got to prove yourself, man. You got to go out there. You got to prove yourself that you're worthy of getting some reps. And, I just think that the New Orleans Saints are trying to make sure that they have the right guy for the job. So I don't think it's a matter of them sleeping on him. I think there's something that the Saints want to see. And, even though the Saints have some issues at cornerback, they don't want to seem like, oh, well, since you are the third round pick and process of elimination, we're going to put you in. No, you got to earn it. And I have an appreciation for that, because when he does become the starter, he's going to cherish that. I'll give you an example, and then we'll take a we'll go to King Arthur. I remember when my minor when I was in college was theater. And my sophomore year, I transferred to Jackson State. And I remember I just used to do audition after audition. I would never, ever get a spot. I'm like, man, what is wrong with me? So my whole sophomore year, I didn't get one opportunity. Junior year, man, I just kind of broke out of my comfort zone. And all of a sudden, like roles started to come in for me. And, I asked my professor, I'm like, what's the difference between last year and this year? He said, last year I felt like I would have just been giving you a part just because you're here. You're like, but this year you earned it. Same thing with Paulson Adebo. You can't just say, okay, man, they drafted me, so all of a sudden I'm going to see the field. You got to earn it. And I got respect for the New Orleans Saints for making him earn it. So if he wants to be that starter, if he wants to get those reps, got to go out there and perform, man. You can look the part all day, but at the end of the day, you got to perform to a high level, and you got to take it. It's a competition. You go to Keen Arthur, man. Keen Arthur, how you doing, man?
Man, what's down with you, homie?
Yeah, man. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for being on State of the Saints podcast. What you got for us, man?
Hey, bro, I'm really hearing a lot of stuff about, especially with Nick Underhill. He said Jameis is head and shoulders above the competition in terms of quarterback play in camp so far. That's a welcome sight for me, because as much I'm gonna go back to what you said the other day. You was like, man, why would you not want both of our quarterbacks to excel? Yeah. Because you don't know what can happen. Yeah. And you never know who we're gonna have to rely on. Yeah. And I agree with that. But I gotta be honest. Yeah. If we were talking about a pure quarterback, we know that's Jameis. Right. I also feel like we're more dangerous with Taysom in his current role. But that don't mean he don't deserve a shot at quarterback. Hey, have at it, bro. Let the best man win. I'm cool with that. But me in particular, I would prefer Jameis take over the reins and Taysom come in those different packages where he can still throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? So him working out as a quarterback will still help if he doesn't get the starting job, if we need him to throw the ball in those packages where we're doing read options and wildcats and stuff like that.
Right. That's a good point, Keen Arthur. And I got to ask you this, though. Like, don't you feel like Taysom Hill is basically playing with house money? Like, I feel like either way, he's going to see the field. It's different between him and Jameis. Like, if Jameis doesn't, start and Taysom does, there's a strong possibility you won't see Jameis. But if Jameis becomes the starter, you still have a strong possibility that you'll see Taysom, right?
I can agree with that. And you know what they say, TJ, especially back home, a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
If you Taysom, you got to be careful with gambling with the success that you've already had, because that can actually lower your value. Don't nobody go to the store and say, you know what, I've eaten this particular product this many times and I know I like it, but I'm gonna look over here and just gamble with this product right here. Right. People don't tend to do that. So what I'm saying is, Taysom, bro, we know what your niche is. You know what I'm saying? We know you're a beast at it. It's okay for you to want to try something else, but don't push all your money to the middle of the table trying to go after being a quarterback, because that can change how the rest of the league perceives you in the event that you wanted to go into free agency and go somewhere else.
Right. Well, I just feel like regardless, he's playing with house money. I have no problem with him embracing this opportunity. He should. Man, it's not like he woke up and said, I wanted to be a Swiss Army knife. He said, I want to be a quarterback. So he's embracing this moment. And look, I'm proud of him. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody else would have came up in here, gave it the old college try, if you will. And, but this guy really embraced it. He has really embraced it. He looks different. He you know what I'm saying? He's slimmed down. He's got more leaner. And I have an appreciation for that. So if this is your last real true opportunity, which I feel like it is from a quarterback standpoint, not a football player standpoint. Why not just lay it all on the line and just say, man, I gave it my best? But if he came up in here and, didn't do the little things that he needs to do in order to embrace the quarterback position, I would have looked at it a tad bit differently. But I'm happy that he's making some good throws and some throws that he wouldn't have made last season. So I think just in that regard right there, King Arthur, man, I'm proud of Taysom. Regardless if he becomes the starter or not, I think that Taysom, there's going to be a spot for him. And that's one of the reasons why his teammates love him, because he embraces every moment. Every moment that they give him, he embraces it. You got anything else for me, man?
Yeah, I do. With Deontay Harris facing suspension,
right?
Do you see this guy, Jalen McCleskey, stepping up into that role, or even getting a shot to step into that role? That dude is a burner, bro. Yeah. You don't just dismiss 4.2 speed, bro. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's everything that I'm hearing about McCleskey. I mean, he's doing a real good job in camp. But, as long as he continue to make plays, he keeps his head down, continue to work, and probably just stay on Twitter because everybody's singing his praises, he should be okay, man. I think it's a great opportunity for him. And, I used the example last time on the State of the Saints podcast when it came to Willie Snead. When Willie Snead, a couple, like 1 year he had like almost 1,000 yards catching, and then he ended up getting that DUI charge. And, I mean, he saw his production drop. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he was just out there basically being a decoy. So I do understand that sometimes Sean Payton, if he feels like a player like has let him down or disappointed him or something like that, and another guy steps up, then you might have an issue. Yeah, you might have an issue like seeing a field. Now, he's a little bit different because he's such a dynamic playmaker on special teams. You don't want to lose that production. But if Jalen McCleskey comes in here and he continues to perform, Deontay Harris might see his production drop as a wide receiver, and you might see McCleskey, making some plays. And if Jalen McCleskey plays week 1 and he makes some plays, there should be no spot filling here. Okay, if Jalen McCleskey goes out there and performs and he's doing well, and Deontay Harris comes back after 2 weeks, but Jalen McCleskey has been performing, I ain't about to take him out of the lineup because this is something that could have been completely avoidable, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you rich, dog. Like, I understand you at home, you want to show off and show out and all that kind of stuff. You want, drive the Lamborghini and stuff like that to the club so all your homeboys that you grew up with can say you own. But this was something that could have been completely avoided. Take a Uber, take a Lyft, go home, sleep it off, and none of this stuff would have happened. So I don't have any sympathy for that. You know what I'm saying? Because that was just a bad decision on his part. So I don't feel like another guy should be punished if he's being productive. He shouldn't be sitting on the sidelines because, you back now. No, you earn it. That's the key. That's the word of the day. You know what I'm saying? Or the phrase of the day, earn it. So you haven't earned it, right? So if McCleskey goes out there, he's performing, you stay on the bench and get in where you fit in. And you know what I'm saying? If something was to happen to McCleskey or he's not doing some things, then you can come back into the lineup. But there's no spot holder here, bro.
I'm gonna say two last little things real quick, TJ, because you just reminded me of something. You remember when Colin Kaepernick took over for Alex Smith when he got hurt? Alex Smith was balling, bro. He was before he got hurt. And then when that man came back, they shut him down. I thought that was dirty. So I would hate to see something like that happen to Jalen McCleskey if he balling, and Deontay Harris come back and they were like, okay, now you gotta take this veteran side swipe, bro. No, I would hate for that to happen to him. But other than that, I wanted to say how you like what's that boy name? Devontae Freeman sliding in the Saints DMs to get the job.
Well, look, I was gonna talk about that a little bit later, man, on the show. I'll give my opinion on that a little bit later because I feel like that's a topic that deserves a little bit of time. So I'll talk about that a little bit later, King Arthur. But I got a few more calls, man, I gotta take. But thank you so much for your comments, man. I appreciate it, and call back anytime.
No problem, bro. Who that?
All right, who that? Yeah, man. I'll talk about the Devontae Freeman a little bit later because I feel like that's something that's worth a few minutes to talk about. But we're gonna go ahead and go to Aaron. Aaron, what's going on, man?
Yo, TJ, what's good, my dude? What's good?
Man, nothing much, man. Aaron from the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast, available right now on YouTube. Make sure y'all subscribe. Check him out, man. Doing real good work over there. Aaron, the floor is yours, man. What you got for us? What you think about training camp and some of the storylines we're hearing coming out of Saints camp?
Well, we'll start with the quarterback position as always. Jameis Winston took a pretty considerable leap ahead of Taysom Hill in training camp so far. But like I've said yesterday on my review, context matters when you're looking at everything.
Right.
Even though this is first team reps that Jameis had, he's shown he's improved on reading coverages on what the defense has been giving him. Right. So that's a big plus for Jameis.
Right.
The thing I want to see is how will both of these quarterbacks look when the pads come on, because everything amps up. Everything amps up a little differently when those pads come on. From full contact to potential injury risk, it's all about what they do when the pressure is turned up another dial. That's what I want to see out of that. That's all I'll say on that for right now. Yeah. The receiver position with Jalen McCleskey, I'm trying not to get too excited on McCleskey, but I'll be frank, it is a little difficult because we've seen this story, we've seen this song and dance, this movie already, TJ, with Emmanuel Butler. He was a camp darling. He was favored by a lot of us in the Who Dat Nation to make the roster, and he just never put it all together. He never saw the field. Right. So, like I said, that's also going to be something I have to see him do with the pads on, because it's going to be a whole different tempo. If he can mimic the potential he's had so far, then me and you got to collaborate and talk about that a little bit further.
Right.
The position I want to talk about right now is the linebackers of Zach Bond and Pete Werner. That is a make or break position for the New Orleans Saints as a whole. Even though special teams is a close second. We've seen Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis address special teams with the addition of Kavarie Russell. He's played a lot of special teams. You've got guys like Jalen McCleskey fielding punts, Marquez Callaway. They're doing everything they can to make sure they fill the holes in special teams, because you don't just lose the likes of a Thomas Morstead or a Craig Robertson or your main gunner and Justin Hardy and not take that seriously. Like, that's the make or break for a lot of Saints games.
Right.
So a lot of these moves that it makes sense, but the linebacker position overall is the crutch, I would say, for the New Orleans Saints, and you have to make sure you're evaluating these guys. And honestly, as far as I'm concerned, I think Pete Werner is having a really good solid start to his training camp. He's had, when they were running some nickel packages, from what I'm understanding, Werner's been getting the first team reps with that. And when it comes to base packages, Zach Bond is included in that. So even though it's not significant, it's those tiny little details that has to keep you wondering, okay, so far it looks like Werner is more suitable for the nickel and add Zach Bond during the base 4-3 to give Gardner Johnson a little bit of a rest. Pete Werner as a will linebacker for this team, very underrated. This guy is I've said it before, he's a poor man's Luke Kuechly, and I have made lengthy discussions so far that actually mirror that sentiment. Now, I'm not saying he is Luke Kuechly, chat, mind you. It's the way that they move, the way they diagnose plays, and they anticipate and they know where they're supposed to be before the play actually unfolds. That's something that's next level stuff. Now with Quan Alexander, that's pure speed, and he's got that same recognition. Yeah. But you already touched on Quan Alexander already. You know, look at your options, see what's there, and if it's not with the Saints, hey, all hope there to you. But right now, as I'm seeing it, I think Pete Werner is edging out slightly, but it's still too close to call. I'm hoping for the best for either guy. Yeah. Either way, I do believe Zach Bond has a place on special teams already. He's proven that. Yeah. He's proven that. So that's all I've got to say on that. I'm very disappointed that they waived Lawrence Woods. That was my guy coming out of Truman State. I was looking forward to seeing him field some punts. That was my dude. Yeah. But that's all I got on that for right now. I'm doing a whole review on this day later, hopefully before the rain gets too bad.
Okay. Yeah, I heard it was raining down there, man. So looking forward to hearing your take, man, on the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast.
Yes, sir. All right, I gotta go. I gotta get food in my system and check on this weather. I may have to postpone it tomorrow. I'll post it on my community tab, so watch out for it, man.
All right, man. We're looking forward to hearing that, man.
Chat, it's a pleasure as always. I'll be in the comments. Deuces.
All right, man. All right, take it easy. That's Aaron from the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast right there, man. And does an outstanding job over there on his YouTube channel. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel and support Aaron. He's growing over there. He's doing an outstanding job. He knows how to break down football and also a very good perspective that you can get over there. Once again, Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. We can go to Chosen, man. Chosen, how you doing?
TJ, long time, brother, long time.
Yeah, man. I know, man. I know, man. It's been a minute since I heard from you, man. So, what you got for us, man?
All right, man. First of all, man, I just want to tell everybody who that nation in the chat. Thank y'all for the get well wishes. I don't know if everybody know, but I've been dealing with COVID for the past couple weeks. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to make sure everybody, you know what I'm saying, watch out for each other, man. Be brother's keeper, and you make sure y'all watch out for your family. It's serious out here, y'all. You know, I don't know everybody believes, but if you want to get vaccinated, get vaccinated. If you don't, just follow protocols and be safe. And if you don't have to be out here in these people streets, man, don't do it. It's not worth it, man. So that's all I gotta say about that, man. But and shout out to Eric, man. You know, we down here in Louisiana, weather getting bad. So anybody out here in Louisiana, man, y'all make sure y'all stack up, man. Y'all, because the weather getting horrible. You know, it's like we can't catch a break down here, man. But as far as the Saints, man, I know we're ready to talk Saints football, man. I want to touch on Jameis and Taysom real quick. We all, you know, if we sit down and think about it, man, we analyze Taysom. What made us fall in love with Taysom? Was it him being a pure quarterback, or was it him being a Swiss Army knife, being able to play multiple positions? You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand everybody, we fall in love with that new thing, and it's refreshing to see another quarterback come in who make plays and who able to do multiple things. But when you come down to the nitty gritty, you guys, like, we have to realize that these guys are on the same team, and we want the best person for the job. We are not players fans. We are Saints fans. And as Saints fans, we should want the best for the team. You know, it's just like if you have a kid, you want to send them to the best daycare. You don't fall in love with the daycare teacher or whatever. You fall in love with the program and the business and the organization that provides that teacher. You want the best for yourself. So, like, if you go to a restaurant, you're not falling in love with that chef or that waitress. You fall in love with the business and the services and the atmosphere that place provides. So we have to look at that when we look at our quarterbacks. We love Taysom. We love Jameis. You know, we might even like Ian Book. You know what I'm saying? But you have to want the best for your team, no matter who that is. You know, it could be Jameis, Taysom, the ball boy down the street. You know what I'm saying? If he come in and he dominate, and he plays accordingly, and he give us the best chance of winning, that's who I'm rolling with. I don't care what happened in the past. I don't care if a fan favorite. I don't care the stats. If you put my team in the best position to win and to lead that position, if you're the man qualified for the job, that's who I want. You know, I don't care your background, your ethnicity. I want the best man for the job. And if we look at Taysom, we fell in love with what he do. And if the man don't start, like you touched on, TJ, he's still gonna play, and he's still gonna come in his gadget role on punt return, kick return, kickoff, and so on and so forth. So Taysom is going to play. That's what got him his contract. That's what got him to the dance. That's what we fell in love with. The fact he can do everything, not just him being a pure quarterback. So I think we need to kind of pump the brakes on the whole Jameis versus Taysom. They all want the same thing, man. And like you say, knock on wood, one of those guys was to go down. I would love the fact knowing my backup is just as hungry and is just as savage as my starting quarterback. That way we won't miss a beat. You know, that's part of the next man up mentality. And also, TJ, before I go, man, I want to say I'm so glad a lot of our Saints fans are not GMs for this team. You know what I'm saying? Because I look on social media, bro, and I see comments, I see complaints. I never seen so many complaints, bro. I'm starting to question these people loyalty, bro. I never seen so many complaints. These guys, we signed Brian Poole, right? And once we signed Brian Poole, I see so many people. You chose him over Xavier Howard? Okay, check this out, brother. Do you think Miami want a hot sausage po' boy, a big shot, and some UTZ chips for Xavier Howard? Because that's all we're going to have to offer, man. That man is coming off a great season, leading the league in interceptions. The Saints don't have no money, bro. Where we gonna get these people for these big name players? That's like you said, we fall in love with big names and superstars. Bruh, we don't even have the money to get these people that they complaining about we not getting. We don't have it like that, bro. We on a budget. We got a food stamp card in New Orleans, man. At this salary cap, man. We on a budget. We ain't balling like that. We on a fixed income in New Orleans right now, man. So we gotta get what we can get and make it work. So I just need to tell all the Who Dat fans, man. You know, be cool on the big name free agents, bro. Like, of course, we would love to have these guys, but realistically thinking, bro, we don't have nothing to give. And do you really want to give all your first round picks, all your main pieces for one position that may or may not work out? You want to gamble, you want to play with house money like that, then that's your organization, that's your business. But me, I want to roll with the dogs that been there, the consistency, the chemistry, and what got me there. Ain't no sense. We not in rebuild mode. I don't believe we in rebuild mode. I don't feel like we need to panic. I just feel like we need to add some pieces and let the coaching staff do their job. This coaching staff do not get enough credit. We haven't missed a beat when our top guys go down. So I just want to say, Who Dat fans, man, y'all just be patient and trust the organization. And if it don't work out, then it don't work out. But just give it a chance, man. You don't know. We jumping off the bridge before we even get there. Like, we just need to take it one step at a time, 1 week at a time, one practice at a time, and give these guys a chance to prove themselves. Because you know what's going to happen, TJ, before I go, you know what's going to happen. They going to pan out to be dogs, and everybody going to say, man, I told you that that boy was going to do his thing. I told you that boy was going to do his thing. Like, nah, bro, we want people, we want consistency. We want you to keep that same energy, you know, from the off season to the regular season to the postseason. Hopefully we make it that far, man. So I just want to thank you, man. And, you know, and one more time, TJ, I'm going to throw you in the assist, bro. Shout out to Manscaped with that 4.0 trim, man. I'm telling you, if you ain't trimming, you ain't winning. You got at your boy.
Man, thank you so much, man. Hey, I was trying to, like, you know, not talk because every time I talk, I can hear my feedback, man. So I was definitely feeling what you were saying, and I'm glad that you're doing okay, man. Glad to see you back here, man. Looking forward to hearing your commentary and everything like that when the season starts. So, Chosen, thank you so much, man, and thank you for putting everything into perspective. I appreciate that.
Sir, thank you, man. Hopefully we get to do this again soon, man. I'm glad this the last week. Football, I'm gonna watch some. I'm gonna watch some Cowboys and some Steelers this Thursday, because I mean that's all we got these days. You know, that's all we got. I'm still a fan of the game. I love the Saints, but I'm a fan of football too. So I'm just glad everything, man. We finally get some content, and I'm looking forward to another great season with the State of the Saints podcast and the Black and Gold podcast, and everybody else, man, who support the Saints, man. I'm just looking forward to a great season, man. I'm excited. Football is back. Everybody, the wait is over. The wait is over.
Yeah, that's right, man. The wait is over, and I'm excited about football season being back. And I'm gonna check that game out too, man. Because like you, I'm a fan of the NFL as well. But Chosen, you take it easy, man, and enjoy the off-season training camp, and feel free to call back anytime.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Y'all be blessed. Who that?
All right, man. Shouts out to Chosen, man. Shouts out to him. Appreciate him calling in. Glad to see that he's doing fine, man. It's been a while since we actually heard from him. So good that he's in a good bill of health to be able to call and chime in and let us know. But I mean, I definitely agree with what he's saying. You know, I definitely agree that we need to, you know, pump the brakes on some of the things that we're saying. I think a lot of the opinions of individuals, you know, sometimes like we read these articles and sometimes we read these headlines and they'll say something like the Saints need to try to sign this guy. Saints need to sign this guy. And they come up with these different type of scenarios and they put it on our mind, right? And all of a sudden it becomes like the best idea in the world. But sometimes, like, you know, logically, it's not the best choice. You know, I mean, I would love to have Xavier Howard as a New Orleans Saint. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, him being on the opposite side of Marshawn Lattimore, I think that would make the Saints one of the best, have one of the best tandems in football. But realistically, you know, you can't afford that, you know. So at the end of the day, you have to go with the guys that you can afford and try to make your team as solid as possible. And Chosen also mentioned, the Lawnmower 4.0 that's available with Manscaped, which, you know, I can agree with. The Lawnmower 4.0 is a really good product. And Manscaped also has some really good products. They have nose trimmers. They got razors, man. They got all these different male grooming items that you can choose from on Manscaped.com. Use the promo code State of Saints, and you'll save 20% off on your purchase of the Lawnmower 4.0 as well as other Manscaped items. So once again, thank you, Manscaped, for being an official sponsor of the State of the Saints podcast. And yeah, check them out. Once again, manscaped.com. Use the promo code State of Saints. All one word, lowercase letters, State of Saints. All right, we're going to move on to Donald D. Donald, what's going on, man?
Hey, TJ, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing okay, man. How you been?
I've been good.
Yeah, that's good, man. What you got for us?
Well, first of all, the last caller, he's right. My thing is, relax. Relax. Everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, I agree,
People
man.
are entirely too much.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not concerned about that. And I think that we need to have that wait and see approach. We lost Donald D. But yeah, I mean, I agree with what he's saying. I mean, we need to have that wait and see approach. I understand that it's scary. It's uncharted water. So we don't have Drew Brees. We know for a fact that Drew Brees isn't coming back. Some of us felt like, man, as long as we weather the storm until Drew comes back, some of us, have, basically got our mind programmed to feel like, Drew Brees, what I'm saying, is the is-all and be-all. But this has been a really good football team over the past couple of years. And I just wish that we all would have an appreciation for the football team. And I also wish, as fans, that we would have this wait and see approach, But man, we have to be patient, because we really don't know how this season is going to pan out. So I think once the season starts to, get into, rotation and get the flow of the season going, then, if the season ain't panning out, then we can have these type of conversations. I understand it, but at the end of the day, man, we basically just getting all, revved up over assumptions. And, know what they say about people that make them assumptions. Gigatis says breaking Saints waive Lorenzo Neal and DB Lawrence Woods, tight end Dylan Schroeder, and was replaced on injured reserve. Wow, that's some unfortunate news. I was looking forward to seeing what Lorenzo Neal Jr. is going to do, but hey, that might end up being a good thing, because that means some of these other interior linemen were really stepping up. But I think Lorenzo Neal is going to find a place on the Saints team. I mean, not the Saints team, but in the NFL. He was a really good, solid leader at Purdue, so he'll land on his feet, man. He's going to find a home. So unfortunate that it won't be with the New Orleans Saints, but still got to root for the kid, man, and that he finds a team that's suitable for him and he can be productive with that team. But we're gonna go to Jerry Poor. Jerry, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's up, TJ, the host?
Yes, sir.
Of the State of the Saints podcast. See you rocking the Saints cap, man. Football is back, baby. It's back.
Yeah, that's right, man. It's back, man, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the NFL season being back this past weekend, the last weekend that we're going to be without football until February. So I know everybody got to be excited about that. But, Jerry, what do you think about training camp, some of the storylines that's going on? And I appreciate it, man, sending them emails to me and keeping me, informed about some of those things. I appreciate that. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about training camp. What do you think about it so far? And what are those storylines that intrigue you?
Well, before I talk about that, TJ Jones, I just want to say hello to you and your family. I hope everybody is doing well. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Who that to everybody? I know y'all excited about football season as much as we are. Yeah. But I want to share this real quick, and then we're gonna get into that real quick. It ain't gonna take but a minute. Right. Yours truly, the OG, got his COVID shot last week.
Oh man, that's great, man. That's great. Good to hear.
I got my COVID shot last week. Well, thanks to my dad, because he made the schedule for that. So whatever he got me to do, I got to take care of that. So I got it done last week, and I'll get it done in a couple of weeks. Supposed to go back, I think, on the 18th of August. So that'll be my second shot. So thank you all for your prayers and your support. And your boy doing good.
That's good to hear, man.
But hey, I know about them. I know about them. It wasn't nothing but a quick in and out. So that's good. I'm good with that. Yeah, but on training camp, TJ, I saw something very, very interesting everything. And I was listening to Jameis Winston on the Saturday press conference on the New Orleans Saints YouTube channel.
Right.
This guy for real, TJ, and Who That Nation. This guy is for real. This guy is very passionate, 100% on being the QB1 for the New Orleans Saints. Because I was listening to him, what he was saying. He's legit. He is very legit about starting this season as a QB1 with this team. He's serious about that. He's very serious, and I believe in him.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in him too, man. You know, I just think that this is a guy who understands the opportunity that's in front of him. He never been in a situation like this, and you can tell, man, it really means a lot to him. And I always have an appreciation for guys that really want to go out here and get it, not just saying I want it, but doing the little things to make sure that they are in a position to go out here and seize the moment. That's why I have an appreciation for Taysom. You know, Taysom getting leaner. You know what I'm saying? Doing some of those things he needs to do with his footwork. I have an appreciation for guys like this. And, you know, I mean, you have no choice but to cheer for both of these guys unless you just have like, oh, I want this guy to succeed so bad, so forget about the other guy. I want both of these guys to succeed, man. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah, and I also shout out to the last caller that was on there, Chosen, man. I'm glad you're doing well, brother. Also shout out to Aaron and his podcast. I talked to him on Sunday with him and Smokeless YouTube. They was having their live stream on Sunday, so I went over there and checked them out for a minute. So shouts out to them and shout out to all the Saints podcasts that we go to, man.
Yeah, man.
This is why because we are a family. I don't care if it's here on State of the Saints podcast, WDN Chatline, B&G Breakdown Podcast, Smokeless YouTube, Who That Convention with Deuce Winningham, Under the Dome with Mr. Allen and Mr. Sean, and all the great podcasts, Big Q and TSC. Shouts out to all the Saints podcasts out there.
Yeah,
I mean, because that's all we do is love. We come on here, we talk football, we talk Saints football. Yes, I'm a Saints fan, but I'm a fan of football. I'm a fan of football, period. I don't care if it's NFL. I don't care if it's college, high school. It don't even matter. We are all football fans.
Yeah.
And I heard him mention about the Louisiana weather because I know they had some storms over there in Louisiana.
Right.
So I guess, like my dad always say, if anything, if it's storming in Louisiana, that means it's coming over here. That's why I'm hearing some thunder out here. Well, out here where I'm at. So
right.
So but hope everybody is doing well, man. Hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jerry, for you being here. And like I said, big up to all those podcasters out here, man. There's a spot for everybody. I'm happy for everybody that's out here doing it, because it takes a lot of passion to consistently put out this content. And I know people, sometimes they can critique it and they have their opinions, but man, a lot of people put a lot of hard work into what they're doing and they put a lot of passion into it. So I got a respect for everybody that can get behind a webcam and a microphone and really, express themselves. So shouts out to them. And I wish all of them success, man. And it's all love here. Y'all already know, like I done had everybody on this show. I have like no ill feelings towards anybody. I want everybody to succeed, and I have love for everybody. And I'm glad that you said that, Jerry, because there's a spot and opportunities and content for everybody to share. If I don't talk about something, you can get it from somewhere else, and you have different perspectives and different opinions about things. So I appreciate that, man.
No problem, TJ.
Yeah, but let me ask you the final question. What do you think about the defense, man? Defense of the New Orleans Saints. You've seen that the Saints signed, Prince Amukamara. They got, I want to say, what's that guy named? Cavante Russell. I probably messed up his first name, but
Prince, I know him because I remember he used to play with Chicago and New York.
Yeah.
So that's a good cornerback right there. But the other one, the Russell guy, I heard about him. I seen him play. But I don't know much about him. But Prince, I do.
Yeah.
Prince, I do. So hopefully those guys might fill in that gap along with Adebo and Poole, because You know, I just saw Lattimore on the recent players interview on the Saints YouTube channel. And, but ain't no telling how many games he's gonna get suspended, because that's why I'm looking at Adebo's starting just in case. Because ain't no telling how many he gonna miss.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm looking at Adebo and Poole and hopefully Prince and the other cornerbacks I'm looking at because Chris Richard gonna get them boys ready, because
I know.
Because that's how he was when he was in Seattle, when he had that Legion of Boom with Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor and all those guys. He's gonna make a difference with no matter who start.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm just glad to see some of those young guys stepping up and rising to the occasion. I mean, I'm even hearing positive stuff about Ken Crawley. You know, I know he's not everybody's popular or favorite, but even you know what I'm saying? Like, but look, I mean, guys have a right to, like, you know, reinvent themselves and change the narrative. And I just feel like, you know, that wouldn't be fair for us to say that this guy can't change the narrative about himself, but we're counting on Jameis to do the same thing. So, I mean, I understand Jameis is extremely talented, and if you want to look at it a different way, fine, but let's not just quickly just give up on a guy. Let's just see if this guy can improve, see if, you know, what he can do. Because, I mean, I seen him play, you know, against the Panthers last game of the season. I mean, he had an interception, he had a pass deflection. So maybe, you know what I'm saying, like, I don't know, man, just give him the benefit of the doubt. And if it does not work out, let's just trust that the Saints will put the right pieces in place. But let's see how it pans out. Let's see how these guys go out here and play, and then we just make these decisions, man. But Jerry, thank you so much, and I appreciate you for chiming in, and call back anytime.
Yes, sir, TJ. And once again, shouts out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to you, TJ, and everybody. I mean, I love you all so much, man. I love talking. I love coming on here talking Saints football with y'all. So let's keep it going. Now that football is officially back. Now you're feeling like The Rock saying, finally, football has come back.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, man. I am definitely excited about it, Jerry. And I know a lot of people feel the same way too, man. But call back anytime. Appreciate you calling in, man. You already know the OG of the State of Saints podcast, Jerry Poor. What's going, man? Appreciate it, man. Take it easy.
All right, TJ. You take care, brother. Y'all be blessed.
Too.
Y'all have a blessed week, y'all. I'll see y'all again. Y'all take care.
All right, you too, man. Yeah, that's Jerry Poor, man. OG of the State of the Saints podcast. We got to go to Donald D. I see he's back with us. Jules says Lattimore is going to get suspended. Lamar Jackson is going to miss some games for catching the Rona again. Yeah, man. I mean, it's unfortunate that Lattimore most likely going to miss some games. I would just wish that the NFL would just come on and come through and let us know, you know, how many games he's going to miss. But, I mean, I have to say, the longer this happens, you know what I'm saying, the less I feel like it's going to happen. I don't know if the NFL is just waiting for, like, his court date to come up to see how they're going to approach it, you know, to see if what happened actually happened, if it's worth the suspension. So might be one of those situations where, you know, we don't hear nothing. There might be some good news. How they say no news is good news. So we'll wait and see. We're gonna go to Donald D, man. Donald, glad to have you back, man.
Yeah, I had a phone call, man. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
Horrible. No, I'm just saying. No, first of all, Jerry is right. You have to relax. You gotta take your time. You gotta let people do your job.
Right.
You gotta let people coach. And then first of all, I can never pronounce his name. Mukamar. Mukamar.
Yeah.
He's good. He's a good solid. He's a good veteran. He's good. I've seen him play. So he was on that Giant team that won the Super Bowl 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So he's been around winning. So he's good.
Yeah.
I like him. He's good.
Yeah.
He played. Matter of fact, he played in Chicago a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he did, man. I think he also had a stint with the Jacksonville Jaguars. If I'm
he
not mistaken.
He did good. He's good. I like it. And Devontae Adams, Devontae Freeman, that guy. Yeah, he has a good chance of making this team because he's versatile.
Yeah,
I would be surprised if that happens.
Yeah,
people keep talking about Latavius Murray going to get cut. He's not going to get cut. No, Devontae Freeman is taking a job because Ty Montgomery's going to receive it.
Yeah.
That's his original spot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like the fact that the New Orleans Saints are doing what they have to do in order to like put their team in the best position to succeed. I'm gonna talk about Devontae Freeman a little bit later. I'm probably gonna be my last topic.
We can save that. We can save that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just gonna get my perspective on that a little bit later because, like I said, I think Keen Arthur even asked me about that. I said it's worth talking about it a little bit, just to expound on. But what do you think about the defense, man? What do you think about the defense of the New Orleans Saints, man? That's good right now.
They're gonna be just fine. Yeah. I like what they did. The defensive line is not even that big of a concern to me.
Yeah.
It's not really. It's not, I mean, it actually. I mean, again, that's called coaching.
Mm-hmm.
It's called coaching, and I mean, so that'll be fun. They got so much depth, so they want to see the young guys. They want to see the young guys do good.
Yeah.
They don't want to think of no veterans. They don't want to think of no veterans. So why not?
Yeah, I think sometimes like when we hear stories about guys like Lorenzo Neal, what Giggett has actually just told us like him getting released, but sometimes that can speak volume about how these guys actually come to camp. Like the fact that because he got released, because these guys came into camp and they're ready and willing and they look like they're in great condition, great shape, and they're really making it hard for him to make the team. So that can be a good thing. That's
called competition, man. That's called competition. Competition makes the best out of everybody. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be hard.
Yep, that's true. No doubt about that, man.
Fuck. Yeah. And then they keep talking about this Quan thing. My thing is, I don't need Quan Alexander for training camp. I need him once against the Packers. No. I don't need him in training camp. I don't want to see Alvin Kamara in training camp. I don't want to see DeBarnett Davis in training camp. I know what they're gonna do. Give it to these young guys.
Yeah. I think that is a chemistry thing, right? So you got two new quarterbacks. They don't really understand like everybody's tendencies and stuff like that. And repetition is the best thing that is going to get everybody on the same page. So I would agree with you, and I think that maybe some of these guys would probably be sitting on the sideline chilling if you had Drew.
Because they're going to give it to the young guys. I can tell you, but the linebackers, they're going to give it to the young guys. These young guys can be just. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, because even with Cam, man, Cam has not really seen the field. He's
another one. I don't need to see him neither.
Yeah, he's been on the sidelines. I mean, because
look what he's been doing in camp. He's been killing it in camp.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the whole defensive line has done good. I don't need Cam to trade Cam. Come on, man. Get these guys in here.
I get it, man. I mean, you already know what those veterans are going to do. Yeah. But Donald,
and not just that, the receiving car, they shocked me. So I think we'll be just fine.
Right. I agree with it. I definitely agree with that, man. But Donald, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you chiming in and call back anytime, man. All right.
Have a good day, man.
All right, you too. All right. Yeah, man, I agree with Donald. When you have like seasoned veterans, you know what they're going to do. You want to keep them as far away from the field as possible. I mean, you don't want them to, sustain any injuries. But it's a little bit different this season because we all know that the New Orleans Saints have new quarterbacks. So you have to be able to have that chemistry going in order, be ready for week 1 against those Packers. We're going to go to Tragic 504. Tragic, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Oh, what's up, TJ? Who that to the fan?
And who that, man? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Just checking out the show at work. It's a slow day.
Yeah, man. Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much, for chiming in. Or what you got for us?
Well, I agree on your take on Ken Crawley. We forget that Ken Crawley. He started his rookie year. He actually started his rookie year. And the only problem he had during that time, he was actually in position a lot of times on plays. Yeah. He was just wouldn't get his head around where he could have made interceptions. And then the next year rolled around, a guy in his position, he was undrafted. He could have suffered an injury and might have tried to play through it. The Saints don't always disclose the injuries. And as the years went on, he could have finally healed now. You probably even know the zone coverage and scheme better now. So, I mean, it's possible, like you said, just like how we looking at Jameis Winston to reinvent himself, it's possible that Ken Crawley could be in a position to make a jump.
Yeah. I mean, look, I just feel like probably his second season, I just feel like it probably, his confidence was kind of shot. That's the way I feel about it. When you start to like hear those little whispers about your performance, it takes a strong-minded player in order to block out that white noise in order for you to perform at a high level. And I just feel like some of the things you alluded to, the fact that he's an undrafted rookie, coming into the league, you kind of overachieved by you even seeing the field. And now the second season is always tougher, man, because teams know how to attack you. See, those rookie, sometimes the rookie year don't really tell the whole story. That's why they call it a sophomore slump, because now teams got full footage on you and your tendencies and how to attack you. And if you're not careful, if you don't work on a few things to make yourself stand out, if you become too complacent, sometimes that can cause you to, make mistakes, get smoked, possibly even play some bad football. So I don't think that it's a coincidence that the Saints continuously bring them back. There's a few guys that the Saints continue to bring back, guys like Tommy Lee, guys like Ken Crawley, and I think that they like them as players. So who's to say that this guy can't step up when you need him? And if, let's just say, Lattimore end up getting suspended, it's not like he'll be on that side forever or be a starter forever if it doesn't pan out. But if he has an opportunity and he's starting to play a little bit better, why not keep him out there? He understands the system. He's been here, off and on since 2017. We've seen that he can actually play on the outside. And, now that he's going into his fifth year, you're a veteran now. The game has definitely slowed down substantially for you. So I think that, I don't think we should just write him off, man. I say get this guy opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. One more question. I always hear people talk about the COVID, COVID protocols on unvaccinated players who causes an outbreak. But how can a team can distinguish whether the outbreak came from a vaccinated person versus an unvaccinated person?
That's a good point. That's a good point. Honestly, you can't. You really can't. That's why, I think that the NFL has to be very, very careful, because they're saying that, okay, if a player gets, if a player gives the whole entire team COVID, then they're going to have to forfeit that game. They're not canceling no more games. But let's just say the player did get vaccinated, right? Let's just say that he did get vaccinated and the team gets that. I feel like that's a slippery slope. And I feel like you're basically – I feel like that's unfair. You know what I'm saying? Because if a player ends up getting COVID and they do everything they possibly can in order to avoid that situation from happening, then I don't feel like you should, hold that team accountable. Now, if it's a player that has not been vaccinated and they, and they give the team COVID, but by doing tracking or whatever like that, then I feel like then it should be justified, but not if a player is vaccinated. I think there's some red tape with that, man. I really
but I'm saying, like, how do we know that the vaccinated person didn't get it to the person who was unvaccinated?
Right. Well, I think that it's a matter. I think it's a matter of tracking. That's a good point, but I think it's just a matter of tracking, because that's how they get able to identify it. It's like when the Denver Broncos, for example, they knew what player inside of the quarterback room gave the rest of the, gave the rest of the quarterback room, like COVID or whatever. So they're able to track those things. And they got doctors and stuff like that that's been working with the organization to track these guys' whereabouts and all that kind of stuff. So they got the technology to figure that stuff out. But I do feel like it's a lot of red tape when it comes to like these COVID vaccinations. Like I just feel like we've seen that even though people get vaccinated, there's still a possibility that these guys can, get COVID. It doesn't just, stop you from getting it. So I feel like there should be some different rules, especially when a guy did everything he could possibly do to avoid that. So, but that's a good point, Tragic, and I appreciate you for bringing that up, man. You got anything else?
Oh, that's it. That's it. Just checking in with the fam, who that's everybody. You can move on to your next one.
Yeah, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate that, Tragic. Thank you, man, and thank you for spending your work day with us, man. Appreciate it, man.
All right.
All right, take it easy. Yeah, I mean that's a good point. How do you know? How do you know, right? I mean, look, I mean they do these different things to track these players like whereabouts and stuff like that. But look, I mean, vaccinations only can protect you for so many things. That's just like with any other vaccination out here. I think that the misconception is, every vaccination gives you this 100% like probability rate that nothing is going to happen to you. It's not how it works, man. I mean, even if you get a flu shot, I mean, you still can catch the flu, because there's different variations of it, right? As long as you have different variations of, a particular illness and you take a shot for it, I mean, there's still a possibility that you can get it. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Devontae Freeman. Devontae Freeman, we know that he was a former Atlanta Falcon running back. Really, really good for Atlanta, man. Didn't really, like him when he played for the Falcons and stuff like that. We know that he had his opinions and feelings about the New Orleans Saints, even went a little bit further, referring to the New Orleans Saints as Aints on Twitter. We know that him and Sean Payton got into it. Sean Payton with the famous choke with he on the sidelines, and now we see Devontae Freeman as a member of the New Orleans Saints. Look, it's kind of weird to see Devontae Freeman as a New Orleans Saint. I'm not gonna lie to you on that. It's almost like, to me, like if Steve Smith Sr. was to join the New Orleans Saints, or Roddy White was to join the New Orleans Saints. I mean, it's just weird. Like some guys that they're just synonymous with other teams, and he's one of those guys. But I understand that the NFL is a business, and the Saints had an opening, and they felt like he was the best guy for the job. Now, probably going to take some time, like looking at Devontae Freeman in a Saints uniform in order for me to kind of get used to it. But, if he can go out there and he can perform, I have absolutely no problem with this whatsoever. I mean, that's just the way that things go. I mean, we've seen this before, right? We've seen Curtis Lofton come from the Atlanta Falcons and play for the New Orleans Saints. We've seen guys like Joe Horn leave the Saints and go to the Atlanta Falcons. We've seen Tyler Davidson go there. We've seen Ashley Ambrose. So many guys in the past. So, I mean, this isn't like the first time, but there are some guys that they're just synonymous with teams. And you're like, ugh, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have to admit, man, you know what I'm saying? It did kind of make my skin crawl a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It was like, just mess with your mind just to see that, because you just couldn't fathom. You know what I'm saying? I would never thought in a million years Devontae Freeman would have played for the New Orleans Saints. But once again, it's a business, and I understand that completely. Scott, thank you very much for being a supporter and a $10 donation. I appreciate that. If he go out there and he perform, man, I don't care. I really don't. It's just gonna take some time to get used to seeing him in the Saints uniform. I ain't gonna lie about that one. I'm gonna read a few more comments, and then we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Start with Alpha Sports. Alpha Sports says the only true quarterback in the NFC East is Dak. Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, Daniel Jones, I'm not a fan of. Jalen Hurts, we'll see in year 2. And also, Ryan Fitzpatrick, we know that he can bring some magic every now and then, but we know that he kind of sputters as the season progresses. But yeah, I have to say, when it comes to like quarterbacks proving themselves, I think that Dak would be like the only quarterback that you can say that has proven himself, on a big stage, to lead a team. I mean, he led the Cowboys, I think, in his rookie season to a 13-3 record and a number 1 seed. So got to give him credit on that. Brady a 97 overall on Madden, and Aaron Rodgers a 96. Aaron Rodgers better than Brady at this stage of his career. Brady not even top 5 NFL just to meet riding Brady because he won the Super Bowl. Tyrese, look, I definitely agree with that. I just feel like they give Tom Brady the benefit of the doubt way more than they give other quarterbacks. Like, I think they were just more willing to bring Drew Brees down the overall. Drew Brees went from 98 to a 96 to a 94 to a 92 to a 91. But it don't seem like Brady ever like been in that category. Brady, did he have some good moments last season? Absolutely. Did he Did he orchestrate some comebacks? Absolutely. But if you asking me, did Tom Brady play the best quarterback that I've seen out of all the quarterbacks last season? I'm gonna have to say no. How is Tom Brady ranked higher than a league MVP? I mean, I just don't know. So I definitely don't agree with the rankings, but I do feel like people just, love themselves some Tom Brady, which justifiably so. I mean, he is a winner, whether you like him or not. He won the Super Bowl 7 times. We can talk about how he won. We can talk about the circumstances of him winning, but I mean, you can't knock those 7 Super Bowl rings. All 7 of them still shine, regardless of how it happened. Rather, it was a Vinatieri kick, or a deflate gate, a spy gate situation. I mean, he's won those Super Bowls. But as far as being a 97 overall on Madden at the age of 42? Well, I think his birthday today, ain't it? And then he turned 42 today. 43 today. So 43 years old. So the way I see it, no, I don't. I mean, I understand that we got this whole moniker, time versus time, and he just beating time and beating Father Time and all that kind of noise. But look, he's not the same quarterback he was as a youngster. Period. Is he winning games? Is he successful? Last time we seen him, did he win a Super Bowl? Yes, but man, to be a 97, to have a higher ranking than Aaron Rodgers, that's laughable. TJ Jones, did you see any update videos of today? No, I did not. I did not see any videos. I went to the gym. Most of the stuff that involved me listening to different stuff. Had opportunity to read a few articles before I actually sat down and did the podcast. But no, I haven't seen any updates. I haven't seen any players' interviews, and haven't really talked to any of my guys that some Saints reporters out there. So I haven't really seen anything. Falcon says y'all trust in the government is astounding. It's not so much about trusting in the government, man. I don't think it's just that. I don't even think this is anything to do so much with the government. I mean, the CDC is in regards to the science. Now, like I said, man, my job is not to advocate for COVID vaccinations. That's not what I do. That's not how I roll. I will never roll like that. People have a freedom of choice, and I feel like that should, involve every aspect of people's life. Like, did I get vaccinated? Yes, I did, but that was a personal choice. Have my wife, been vaccinated? Absolutely. Like, so that was the decision that we made. But I'm not in a business of trying to tell people, man, do it, get vaccinated. I can encourage you to do so, but I'm not. That's your choice. But I don't think it has anything to do with the government, not to me. I can understand people's skepticism about the government. I can tell you that because it's being told to us, depends on the administration that you root for, right? Don't trust this administration. Then when that administration flips over, they telling you don't trust that administration. So I think that in my personal, honest opinion, the skepticism that people have for the government has been brought on by the government. You can't say on one hand, trust me 1 minute, and then, okay, then when the script gets flipped, you want us to do something. Oh man, don't, trust me, it's going to work out for you. And then telling me the whole time to don't trust you. That's what I'm saying. So I can understand people's skepticism because they're telling you not to trust people. They're talking about systematic, racism and all that kind of stuff in the country, right? And they're telling you that it's brought on by government bodies, right? That's what they're telling you. So why should anybody trust the government just because you're saying, okay, man, we need to get vaccinated? I don't feel like it's a shock that you have a high percentage of people of color not taking the vaccination between the Tuskegee experiment and between, talking about systematic racism and all the things that's going on with the government. Like, why would anybody want to trust the government to do anything? Like, you basically brought on your own. You brought on your own failure, right? That's just the way that it goes. Like, you gotta people. You can't tell people how to trust you. If like if all my married people, relationship folk out here, right? Let's just say, for example, you start our relationship, everything good. Unfortunately, somebody mess around, right? They cheat. Yeah, you might gain a little bit of trust, but it's never gonna be the same ever. ever again, because it's always going to be in the back of your mind, like, what if they do this to me again? What if they hurt me again? So the system, is broken itself, and they and the skepticism and the question marks that people have has been brought on by this same system. But you can't tell me when to trust you and when not to trust you, especially when you've been telling me that I shouldn't trust you, right? So that's kind of crazy. So I mean, it's justified. It's justified. Man, I think there's a healing process that needs to happen before people, can trust what they're actually hearing again, and at a high rate. The only difference between Rodgers and Brady don't complain having a good defense. Yeah. I mean, look, he's had some good defenses over the years. Aaron Rodgers, not so much. I think they kept their defensive coordinator way too long, Don Capers. His best days were behind him, and Mike McCartney, his undying allegiance to Don Capers, I think it was been a downfall of the Green Bay Packers, and they've really like squandered a lot of the prime of Aaron Rodgers. Kind of similar to the Saints, if you want to be honest. It just came out that the CDC paid the NFL to promote the vaccine. Yeah, that's not cool. That's being disingenuous right there. That's being disingenuous. I don't feel like if you want to advocate for something, I don't feel like it should be anything in return when it comes to, something as serious as that, because it comes off as disingenuous, But that's not the only thing that the NFL actually advocates that they get paid for. Even with the United States military, like they get paid to like promote that kind of stuff. And then you had Susan G. Coleman a couple years back. They got paid for that. So I just feel like there's a level of you're being disingenuous if you're not doing it. If you're not advocating for it, like it shouldn't be like, what do I get in return? Especially something serious like that, because these guys are role models and people listen to these folks. So I feel like there's a responsibility for that. It's like me, like I'm not going to be sitting up here cussing up and down and my son in the house. So I have a responsibility for my son not to hear me use profane language in front of him. There's a responsibility, and I feel like if the NFL needs to understand their power, and they shouldn't use it to manipulate anybody, because I feel like that's borderline manipulation. TJ, you think Edwards reinstates mask mandate? I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. I don't know how that the governor is down there. I mean, I haven't stayed in Louisiana for years, but I think they will have to look at the numbers, the statistics, and make the best decision that he feels would benefit the state. I mean, people won't like it, but got to do what's best for the people. That's what I meant. I'm not sure. Let me go back. TJ, is that a Nintendo 64 in the background? No, that's not an N64. That's actually a Super Nintendo. That's Tecmo Bowl right there. Yeah, Tecmo Bowl. Yeah, it's Super Nintendo. Yeah, I got a Super Nintendo. I also have a Genesis, and I got an Xbox behind me. Yeah. So I mean, I kind of had like this phase where I would collect like classic video games a couple years back. But but I got that. I got Killer Instinct. I got Super Mario World. So yeah. And then I got like the Sega Genesis that have like all the classic games on there. Y'all probably see them like at the mall or something, where you plug it in and it has this. It's not the actual game system, but it's you plug it in and it has like all the old games programmed into it. Hey TJ, your thoughts on the USA track and field? Me personally, I've been disappointed. Well, look, I mean, I'm not sure what to think about that, man. I'm just proud of Jamaica, man. They did an outstanding job, man. Those girls and some of those stories that I'm hearing, like they have this 30-year-old track runner. I mean, she had, children and stuff like that, comes out and puts herself in the best shape in order to represent her country. Some people are saying Sha'Carri Richardson, she would have ran, she would have won. I don't know that for sure. We don't know. But it has been disappointing. This Olympic trials. I haven't been following it as much as I should, but I mean, track and field has always been, the United States event. But I mean, if you want to be honest, man, Usain Bolt been dominating too. You know what I'm saying? Even when Tyson Gay was out there, Tyson Gay was always coming in second. He was just the silver medalist. I think that when we think about U.S. track and field, we think about the days of Michael Johnson and Maurice Green and Carl Lewis and Flojo, Florence Joyner back in the day. And Thea Gibson playing tennis and all that kind of stuff. Like, we think about all these different people, but these other countries are catching up with the United States when it comes to like talent. I mean, these guys take a lot of pride in it. And I think sometimes, the United States, like, they underestimate these other countries. They underestimate them, and they just think that, when we walk in with the old red, white, and blue and the stars and stripes on, people just start quivering in their boots. But these people practice all day, every day. They go out here and they grind really hard, man, to be the best and to represent their country. And these people, from these other countries, they want to represent their country right. So, the U.S. got to step their game up. They got to step their game up, man. Devontae Freeman became a big fan of this team because of the intensity of the Falcons-Saints rivalry and because he loves the way Sean Payton uses running back and love our colors. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I ain't see the interview. I don't know, but all I know is Devontae Freeman is a Saint. If I'm being quite honest, I think that he's a Saint because he needed a job. I mean, that's just be real, okay? I don't think anybody at this stage, a guy who has had some issues with being injured over the last couple of years, nobody is breaking down their door trying to sign him. So I feel like if it came down to it, maybe if he had a couple more options, he would not have joined the New Orleans Saints. So that's the way I feel about it. You can't tell me anything different. Like, I'm happy that he found a home, as a man that, has a family and stuff like that. I mean, I understand you want to do what's best for your family. You want to make sure that you have the money and, have some, be able to feed your family. But let's just be real about this. I don't think anybody is breaking down the door to get Devontae Freeman at this stage of his career. Elaine Thompson came back and walked Shelley. Amazing speed. Yeah, she did. And, I've seen that video. And, yeah, I mean, she definitely does. John says, TJ, what do you think about all the hype coming out of camp about Ken Crawley? Do you think he's doing that good, or do you think our receivers are just that bad? That's funny. And that's a fair assessment. That's a fair comment to make, John. But I want to say he's doing better because I seen little nuggets of success, Ken Crawley, dating back to the last game of the season. Now, some people can say that Carolina was Cancun on 3. They was ready to phone it in. They had the bags packed and ready to head to Cancun. But at the same time, when he played really well. And you only can do what's asked of you, and you only can line up against the guys that's available. But I do think the Saints have some talented wide receivers, guys that can go out there that can make some plays. So I'm going to say that he's made some improvement. And until he shows me otherwise, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Pacquiao beat Spence in the 7th round watch. Clay, I'm interested to see that fight. Errol Spence versus Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao, last time we seen him fight, he fought Keith one-time Thurman. He knocked him down, and Keith Thurman actually weathered the storm. Now, me personally, I think that Keith Thurman is a much better fighter than Errol Spence. Errol Spence is a very strong fighter. His jab is almost like a power punch. I think that he's going to be able to do some things with his power with Pacquiao. But I think the way that Pacquiao moves around the ring, I think that he'll be able to, give Errol Spence some problems. But I do feel like if Errol Spence wants to win this fight, he's gonna have to muddy it up. I'm very concerned about Errol Spence. The last time I seen him in the ring, I think it was against Sean Porter. Sean Porter is a rough, rugged fighter already. So, like me personally, like Pacquiao is better than Sean Porter. So if you're having problems with Sean Porter, you're having issues, with guys like that. Manny Pacquiao is way more skilled than that. But I think the best thing about Errol Spence that he has on his side is youth. So we don't know if Manny Pacquiao has slowed down just yet. We don't know if Father Time finally caught up with him. We've seen a little bit of his age showing against Thurman later in those rounds when he started to get tired. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I don't feel like anybody is going to knock anybody out cold. If they did, it would shock the hell out of me. But I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think it's going to go all 12 rounds. So I think that Pacquiao might end up winning via decision. Casual says, what up, TJ and the Who Dat Nation? I'm late, but I'm here. Casual, thank you very much for being here all the way in Canada, the Great White North. Appreciate you being here, buddy. And we'll end it with Clay. Clay says, Porter put the pressure and Spence will get overwhelmed by Pacquiao's speed. Yeah, that's a good point. Sean Porter is a rough, rugged fighter. That's the way. That's the reason he was able to beat Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner at that particular time was a really good fighter until he, Marcos Mancino, like really exposed him. I think he kind of lost his confidence and he just started to care more about money than actually being a good fighter. But Sean Porter is a rough and rugged fighter. He muddies up boxing matches. He basically, to me, like a football player that's a boxer, and he's never going to be one of those guys where he's just not in a fight. So I think that he's almost like that gatekeeper fighter. Like when these two guys can't fight each other, all else fails, Sean Porter will take that fight. Because Sean Porter is almost like the bridge, right? He's a really good fighter. He's going to test the will of his opponent, and he's going to end up looking good at the end. And he's always going to be in the middle of it. And he's always going to be that guy like, man, did Sean win? Did he not win? But I feel like Errol Spence has the hype train behind him. Is he good? Yes. Is he talented? Yes. But I feel like he's never really been tested as a fighter, except for that Sean Porter fight. That's the only fight that I've seen that really gave him some fits. Everything else, I mean, even with Mikey Garcia, I know some of y'all didn't ask for this, but I'm a boxing fan. Even with Mikey Garcia moved up weight to fight Errol Spence. I mean, Mikey Garcia is a junior welterweight at heart. Like, he can dominate that division because he's so talented. That's his stopping point right here. But I just feel like they kind of fed a lot of these fighters to him, and I don't feel like he ever really been tested. Even with Cal Brook, Cal Brook was a shell of himself when they fought. And like I said, I'm an Errol Spence fan. Like, I'm more of a Bud Crawford. I like Bud Crawford more than Errol Spence. And if those two were to fight, I feel like Bud Crawford would actually win. But I like Errol Spence and what he brings. But I think I think his team really put him in a position to be an elite fighter. I'll just end it with this question. It's a Saints question. TJ, I mentioned that Prince of Mukamara is another Jabari Greer. What do you think? I mean, it's as a good thing. Yeah, I mean, look, he's a good, solid tackler, alpha. He's always been a good tackler. He's never been one of those guys that's going to jump in front of anybody, take it to the house. Just not his game. I mean, he's always been that big, physical cornerback, even when he was at Nebraska. He was that guy that was big and physical. He was a short tackler, and I think that's what you need on the outside. He's fundamentally sound. If you're not going to have a guy that's going to, pick the ball off like Janoris Jenkins could, you might as well have a guy that's a bruiser that's going to be a bully on the outside to be able to match up with some of these larger wide receivers. He's about 6 feet, about 209, 210 pounds. He's a big physical guy, and he's a solid tackler. So Jabari Greer, to me, was a little bit more athletic than Prince of Mukamara is. I would give Jabari Greer a knock, the notch on that. But Prince of Mukamara, I have to ask about his age. I mean, he's up there in age. He's about 32 years old. He's had some injuries in the past. I don't think he's the same cornerback he was when he was in his youth. He had some ups and downs even when he was in New York. So me personally, I think that he's a physical guy. I think that's what the Saints are trying to get, some of those guys that's physical. I think that's the reason why they got Brian Poole. I think that's the reason why they decided to sign Prince of Mukamara. but some of these other guys are going to have to step up. I think that some of these younger guys can be in that rotation, because I'm really not sold on Prince Amukamara, especially him being on the other side of 30 and having some injuries in the past. But thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. And once again, man, check out the State of the Saints podcast later on this evening. Have a special interview with Dr. Jesse Morris. He's a doctor of sports medicine and also a former physical therapist to some of the professional football and baseball teams. And we're going to be talking to him about the Michael Thomas injury, talking about, what that injury actually meant to Michael Thomas, and also just get his opinion about what went wrong about, the whole off-season surgery situation. So you do not want to miss that. Happy to sit down with him, man. And it's also good to, get a perspective from a professional that deals with these situations on a consistent basis. But make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Before you get out of here, please hit that like button. Let everybody know that you enjoy the State of the Saints podcast. Previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. We are brought to you by Manscaped.com. Go to Manscaped.com, use the promo code State of Saints. You'll save 20% off of your purchase. And thank you all so much, those that have purchased items through Manscaped, supporting the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. Much love to you. Looking forward to giving you more information about Saints training camp, and hopefully you'll be here to see it. Till next time, all I got to say is